SVRCS family, Mrs. Demarte here with Rosie. She wanted to say hi too. I just wanted to hop on and say hello and see how everybody was doing and read a book to you today. So special shout out to my second grade class. I miss you guys so much, and I hope you are doing well, staying healthy, staying active, keeping your mind sharp, and being kind. So I miss you guys, and I hope to see you really, really soon. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to read to you today the story of Peter Rabbit because it is my son's favorite book ever since he was little, and he picked it out for me to read to you guys today, so I told him I would. Okay, so let's get started. The Story of Peter Rabbit by Beatrix Potter, illustrated by Lisa McHugh. Once upon a time, there were 4 little rabbits, and their names were Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. They lived with their mother in a sandbank, underneath the root of a very big fir tree. "Now, my dears," said old Mrs. Rabbit, "one morning, you may go into the fields or down the lane, but don't go into Mr. McGregor's garden. Your father had an accident there, and he was put in a pie by Mr. McGregor. Run along and don't get into mischief. I'm going out." Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail were good little bunnies, went down the lane to gather blackberries. So they're doing what they're supposed to do. But Peter, who was very naughty, ran straight away to Mr. McGregor's garden and squeezed under the gate. First, he ate some lettuce and some French beans. Then he ate some radishes. And then, feeling rather sick, he went to look for some parsley. Oh no, what do you think is going to happen? He didn't do what his mother told him to do. But round the end of the cucumber frame, who should he meet but Mr. McGregor? Mr. McGregor was on his hands and knees planting out some young cabbages, but he jumped up and ran after Peter, waving a rake and calling out, "Stop, thief!" Peter was dreadfully frightened. He rushed all over the garden, for he had forgotten the way back to the gate. He lost one of his shoes among the cabbages and the other shoe among the potatoes. He ran on all 4 legs, and then he went faster and faster. He might have gotten away altogether if he had not run into a gooseberry net and got caught by the large buttons on his jacket. It was a blue jacket with brass buttons, quite new. Peter gave himself up, for he had lost and cried. His sobs were overheard by some friendly sparrows who begged him to save himself. Mr. McGregor had a basket and was about to pop it on top of Peter, but Peter wriggled out just in time, leaving his jacket behind. He rushed in the tool shed and jumped into a watering can. It would have been perfect hiding place if it had not so much water in it. Mr. McGregor was quite sure that Peter was somewhere in there, in the tool shed, and he began to search it carefully. Then Peter sneezed. "Ka-choo!" And Mr. McGregor was after him in no time. Peter was trembling with fright, and he had not the least idea which way to go. He was also very damp from the sitting in that can. He tried to find his way straight across the garden, but it became more and more puzzled. He came to a pond where a white cat was staring at some goldfish. She sat very still, but now and then the tip of her tail would twitch as if it were alive. Peter thought it best to go away without speaking to her. He had heard about cats from his cousin, Benjamin Bunny. He turned back towards the tool shed when he heard the noise of a hoe. Scratch, scratch, scritch, scratch, scratch. Peter scuttled underneath the bushes. When nothing happened, he came out, and he saw Mr. McGregor hoeing onions. His back was towards Peter, and beyond him was the gate. Peter started running as fast as he could, but Mr. McGregor caught sight of him at the corner. But Peter did not care. He slipped underneath the gate and was safe at last in the woods outside the garden. Mr. McGregor hung up the little jacket and the shoes for a scarecrow to frighten the blackbirds. Whew, that was close. Peter didn't stop running until he got home to the big fir tree. He was so tired he flopped down on the floor and shut his eyes. His mother was busy cooking. She wondered what he had done with his clothes. It was the second jacket and a pair of shoes that Peter had lost in 2 weeks. Peter did not feel very well that evening. His mother put him to bed and gave him a dose of chamomile tea. 1 tablespoonful to be taken at bedtime, but Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail had bread and milk and blackberries for supper. The end. Well, SVRCS, again, I hope everybody is doing well, and I really hope to see you soon. Take care.